Welcome back to the Broad Street Benchwarmers podcast. My name is Adam Den. Ethan Leviditis here with me, and we are here after. I mean,
A lot.
basketball
Yeah.
is back. I mean, we haven't talked about it forever. I don't think we even did. We do an episode on the finals?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I think maybe like right after the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals, but
yeah, but
we never
not.
like into it because it
Yeah, not
seemed like kind of over before it started, which it kind of was. But then,
exactly. But I mean, we've had an excessive turnaround
yeah,
in pretty much all the rosters. Not a superstar free agency and draft like
yeah,
last
not
year.
like last year at
You
all.
know, Zion obviously and Ja and that free agent class. But we're here to discuss it. I think we should start right into it with our own team. I mean,
Yeah,
the Philadelphia 76ers getting rid of maybe the most hated man on this podcast,
yeah.
Al Horford.
Finally,
Um, finally trading away a first round pick and a second round pick as well. That second round pick being used to take Theo Maledon. We will discuss him later. And acquiring Danny Green,
yeah.
who
Who is a
yeah,
player? He's a
yeah,
shooter, which is fine because they're down more now.
yeah.
And I mean, when he was before he went to LA, I think I said I wanted he was like one of my top free agents for us, which is insane.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you look at that Toronto Raptors season from
Should we just keep? We need to keep
Let's
this.
just do that in. If you look at that Toronto Raptors season from 2 years ago, Danny Green was definitely one of, if you look at, I mean, maybe the five biggest contributors for that Toronto Raptors team. Danny Green was definitely one of them. You look at the 3.3 wins above replacement during that season, averaging, I think it was 12 points per game in
Yeah,
those playoffs, and just providing a blow for blow shooting presence with
yeah,
the obviously what the Golden State Warriors bring with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And while he's going to get memed for that shot
yeah. Obviously,
forever,
forever.
I mean, he was fine last season.
Yeah,
Defensively, it was his highest wins above replacement of all time at
for
7.7.
for him, I was gonna say he's the best war of any NBA player.
No,
Like,
not of any. Oh my god. He shot 37% from three,
which
which
is
is fine
exceptional for us.
during the regular season. Obviously, that number slipped during the bubble, but I
Mhm.
mean, I think a lot of players struggled with the pressure of the bubble, and
Yeah,
now having it being relieved and having a guy coming to a place like Philly where he knows he's going to have to play a role and being given that and playing with two guys who need that guy in the corner to kick it out to. I mean,
yeah,
we saw it this season. We saw how Josh Richardson struggled in that role. We saw how we honestly were relying on Alec Burks in the bubble. To have a reliable veteran presence like that is definitely huge for this team.
mhm. Should we just talk about Jay Rich now? Because I mean,
Yeah,
you just
probably.
talked about him, so
I mean, Richardson
for Seth
traded.
Curry, it's not even that bad.
No,
I didn't hate it initially. I'm like, yeah, sure.
I mean,
I mean, I love the defense that he brought to the team.
yeah,
He's just so inconsistent on offense that I don't mind that we traded him for Seth Curry because we definitely need more shooters. Because when Shake Milton was like our second best shooter or
it's
best shooter at times, we were doing something
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. I mean,
He could work totally at shooting guard. Brings
yeah,
a, I, I mean, he's not gonna garner the appreciation of JJ Redick, but he's gonna fit that role
yeah.
from
I mean, 12.4 points
2 years.
per game,
Yeah,
2.3 wins above replacement. Just a solid player for Dallas in his
yeah,
role. I mean, obviously he got that huge bag in the off season that maybe he didn't live up to throughout his Dallas tenure. And Richardson is a good fit for them too. We can talk
yeah,
about that. I mean, defensively, they definitely get some much needed help. But he just fits again exactly what this team needs better. A defensive presence. I mean, offensive presence in the corner and a defensive presence on the wing, and you know that definitely molds what the offense that Doc Rivers is going to run as well. I'm sure. I'm sure he's going to continue to do this. Ben at point guard experiment with Joe in the post, and we'll see what happens from there. I mean,
Yeah.
starting five of Ben and Steph
So
Curry and Danny and Tobias at the four and Joel Embiid at the five. To me,
that's
sounds like a
fine.
top three team in the Eastern Conference, top
Yeah,
four team.
because we for the first time in God knows how long we have a deep bench. Just
Yeah,
like we have Shake, we have Matisse, we have Tyrese Maxey. We're gonna talk about later. And then Dwight Howard. Dwight
Howard.
Howard.
We'll get into that right now. I mean, obviously not the biggest contributor on that Lakers team. He kind of got forced out of his starting spot and really out of a role in the playoffs. I mean, wasn't a huge contributor there. But during the regular season, Dwight Howard was, I mean, a
Decent.
serious comeback of player of the year candidate.
Yeah.
7.5 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, just providing that huge, ginormous presence in the paint
Hmm.
that this team needs. And I mean, can't get much worse than
Yeah.
Kyle O'Quinn and Norvell Pell.
Yeah.
So,
And like Greg
definitely,
Monroe in
yeah,
those nightmare years.
that
Like,
Raptors
we
camp.
didn't we don't we never needed like an elite backup.
Yeah,
Like this I think it's not like a perfect fit, like whatever, who cares? But like we need like I think other than backup point guard because of NATO, who's gone by the way. Thank you. Thank God. Um
where is he? Where didn't he go to like Portland?
I'll search it up right now.
Yep.
He is on the well the Wizards of uh, they hopefully he goes to, I don't know what their G League team name is, but that's where he belongs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess you can run Shake at backup point guard. Him and Max you can switch between. But
Yeah.
our second unit is still decent, which is insane because we used to be running James Ennis. What's his name? Uh, who? Jonathan Simmons.
Yo. Jonathan Simmons didn't even play.
Yeah. Zaire when trading
Zaire.
there.
Yo.
Yeah, you're
I
trading for
mean,
Tony Bradley.
Tony Bradley is again
A decent center.
another decent big. I mean, the defensive prowess that he provides, the experience obviously from Utah. He's been in the playoffs before, even if he wasn't necessarily starting or playing major minutes. It's just something. And I mean, obviously you'd hope that Zaire would pan out to something. But at this point,
Yeah, it's a,
what are we, 3 years in?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this will be Zaire's third year, I think. And
yeah.
what you've seen absolutely nothing. I mean, you can argue that Shayok, who they cut, has provided more for this team overall. So it's like, you know,
Looking at
not much.
Phoenix with Mikal Bridges, it hurts so much.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
he's kind of like he would be so good as a
Look,
backup
he's that
three for
three
us.
and D guy. I mean, he's
Even though we have
basically
Matisse
a
and
shorter Roko.
yeah, he's a mix of Rocco and Matisse, but not as good defensively as Matisse. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was oof. We could have had who was our backup? I guess like I know we switched between starting Matisse in the bubble, but who do we
Yeah.
get? I guess
Outburks.
oh, that was Valbass and Tuca. And
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're gonna do what ifs, Jason Tatum, we
yeah,
could go on and on and on.
uh,
But as
what
of right now,
Kristaps instead of Jaloka for, but
yeah, as of right now, this team looks substantially better than it
that's
did
so much
in the,
better than last year.
and I think we can go off that and say, we should look forward to Sixers basketball, unlike Philadelphia Eagles football. But
Yeah,
we'll say that
or Phillies baseball.
for
Yeah,
Phillies baseball or Flyers hockey.
Fire is decent.
Fine.
They're probably the best team in the city, which is sad.
All right. So, we thought, free agency, the draft, we just go winners and losers straight up. We'll give you 3 winners, we'll give you 3 losers, from all across the league, just to get a general sense of what went on during this free agency and this draft. So, I mean, you want to start it off? I think we know who you're going to say.
My first team is the Lakers. I mean, you lose Dwight Howard, you lose Rondo, and like it's not that big of a deal because you got Montrezl Harrell. Even though he's undersized, he was bad, very bad in the playoffs for the Clippers. He would still work very well for them as a spark plug off the bench because that's something they needed because they got rid of all their depth for Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder, who was I think we wrote an article about this, hungry.sportsblog.com. I said Dennis Schroeder for a 6 man of the year, so we have 2 of the best role players in the league.
And I said Montrez.
They have 2 of the best role players in the league coming off their bench. And that was their biggest, their most glaring issue last year. So they could very well repeat.
I think they're the best team in basketball.
That's me to say, yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
My first one is actually us.
Yeah,
I mean, as biased as it sounds, to add Tyrese Maxey in the draft, great guard off the playmaking guard off the bench, add Isaiah Joe as a shooter, get off that Al Horford contract that we knew was going to hold you down throughout, and all the other moves that we just talked about that provide that spacing across the floor for this offense that looks so stagnant during the regular season and throughout the bubble, and get Doc Rivers. I think it really has been undervalued how great of a signing that Doc Rivers was for the 76ers organization, just to get someone with that leadership presence, even though he might not have the playoff record that you might want, just provide a leadership in this locker room that has had so much controversy throughout the past couple of months over the Simmons and Embiid trades. So, I think great offseason overall.
My second team is the Phoenix Suns, who were a tiebreak away from making the playoffs, and they still got better.
Yep.
Trading Kelly Oubre and some picks. Chris Paul was great because, and Ricky Rubio, I'm pretty sure, who then was traded to Minnesota. But Chris Paul had a great season. I wouldn't totally bet on him coming back to that form that he was for OKC, but
I think he'll still be pretty close. I mean, that offense fits him perfectly.
He'll still be a solid number 2 or even a number 3 if DeAndre Ayton wants to take a jump. But still a very solid team. They brought back Dario. You wanted him to go to the Sixers, but oh well. And
he's not been freed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Jalen Smith later. We kind of not a great pick, but I think they're still poised to be a lower seed in the West. But I don't know. I want the Suns to do well so bad.
Yeah.
It hurts to see them just continue to fail. So.
I mean, they should be. I have them pegged as a 7 seed right now. I did it the other day. But my second team is another team that I have now pegged as the 7 seed, the Atlanta Hawks. And,
most active team for agency wise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, between them and Detroit obviously for less positive reasons. We'll talk about them later. But Atlanta, for me, really, it was just getting defensive help and just providing Trae Young with his quote-unquote Klay Thompson. And, they got one of those done, and maybe even, if not, providing Trae Young with that number 2 that I thought he needed, they definitely got better shooting-wise. I mean, Okongwu is definitely a great four. He definitely plays that Draymond Green role very well. And I mean, a lot of people have been comparing him to Bam. I think that might be a little premature
Mhm.
considering his tape at USC, but I think he definitely, for his size, is incredible what he can do in the paint and his athleticism as well. And uh, John Collins is still on this team. Gallinari is one of, despite his playoff performance in the first round, which I thought was abysmal, is still one of the best fours in the league. Can really stretch the floor at that three ball, and also a great defender. I think that's underrated as well. And so, I mean, this Atlanta team, if they do not make the playoffs, there's no reason for Lloyd Pierce to still be the coach
Yeah.
because this team has all the makings of a quote unquote win now, and they should be ready to go.
Yeah. So my third team is the Mavericks. We talked about the Richardson thing earlier. I think it's a fair enough trade. I don't think any team like lost or won like to a dramatic extent. But
Yeah,
Richardson had some defense, especially with Luka being a so-so defender. Then you got probably one of the most underrated drafts. You get Tyrell Terry in the second round, who was I think we projected him to go to us. Like
yeah, at 21.
we didn't expect Maxi to drop to us, but
Yeah,
then you get Josh Green is decent.
yo,
So I mean, there's not a lot of winners because it's kind of quiet off season. But
yeah,
Mavericks, if they don't make a jump, I'll kind of be disappointed. But yes, they're still on pace to be one of the better teams, even though the West is still stacked, like super
yeah,
stacked.
yo. Yeah. So my third team is going to be the Portland Blazers. Um, this team, I mean, obviously underperformed due to the injuries in the playoffs. I mean, in the regular season, got that 8 seed in the playoffs, and I mean, there was a lot of hype about them taking it to the Lakers. Obviously, that was illegitimate, but for them to basically replace Trevor Ariza with Robert Covington
It's a
and
dub.
get a huge defensive boost to bring back Carmelo Anthony on the minimum deal, which people were saying he was going to get paid 10 15 million by like the Hornets or the Knicks or something ridiculous, so to get him back, and our boy Ennis the Menace Canner coming back strong
Yeah,
to
they did just like
Portland.
before we recorded this. Whiteside went to the Kings, but he's been under.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
He's like an 87 in 2K20. Like
I don't understand that.
it's
No, he's
like
literally one of the
power forward
worst
you want.
defensive power forwards that
Yeah,
I've seen, despite his height. Um, but this team just got what they needed was guys on the wing that can contribute. They obviously missed guys like Alfred Aminu and those guys from the 2018 that 2018 2019 Blazers team. And so for them to get back from that is definitely a huge win for them, and I think they will definitely be a playoff team.
yeah. So we're gonna go into losers now. I apologize to the city of Detroit because they're going through a lot right now.
Yo,
Lions, they suck. Red Wings, probably the worst team in hockey. The Tigers, probably. Actually, they kind of were.
one of the worst teams in
They also
baseball.
suck.
Yeah.
But the Pistons, they threw money at whoever, and they were like, it was like the next last offseason, just all the forwards.
Yep.
So you traded Luke Kennard for something. I don't
For
know.
Landry.
No, Landry went to the Nets, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, then it was the pick. It was the
But
19th
yeah,
pick,
it
which
was,
got Isaiah Stewart.
which was fine.
Yeah, overrated prospect.
Uh, but then you throw money at Jeremy Grant, which I
Yep.
mean, he's a good player. He's a very good player, very good role player.
Yep.
And then throw like 10 million or more than that to Mason Plumlee, who's also another. They're just taking all the Nuggets now. I don't know why. But, I mean, if Bol Bol's contract goes out next season, might as well pick him up
That's
too.
all. Yeah. He's
But
more talented than those two guys.
yeah,
Well, maybe not Grant, but Plumlee at this point
you
in his
lose
career.
Christian Wood to the Rockets, which is stupid because he was probably your best player last season, which is saying a lot about the Pistons. But like, he's
Yeah.
still a very good NBA player. He would be a great starting forward on like a guard heavy team like the Rockets. Where's
Yeah, and basically paid Plumlee within 2 million of what they could have paid Wood.
yeah, which is pathetic.
Yeah.
But whatever. They're just in a position as a franchise where they have to throw money at people, like a team that we're going to talk about in a second.
Yep.
Yeah,
My first loser, that was a great segue,
yeah,
uh, is the Charlotte Hornets. Look, Gordon Hayward on the Utah Jazz
he's okay.
was an incredible player.
Yeah, he was a buck.
Um, the athleticism, the ability to finish in the paint, he was one of the strong. I mean, he was a skinny guy, but one of the strongest finishers in the league. And that injury has to go down among the Derrick Roses of the NBA as one of the most tragic overall. I think,
He's not
what?
a Hornet.
uh,
Make him like 20 mil because
yo,
Michael Jordan has a lot of money.
yo, it's ridiculous that at this point in his career, after this injury in which he was not the same. I mean, 11 points per game 2 years ago, 16 this year, but I mean, missing a ton of games. That he is being paid 120 million over 4 years, 30 million per year, which is absolutely insane. And I mean, I I honestly can't see any reasoning for it. It doesn't provide the Hornets with any marketing,
Yeah, Gordon
zest.
Hayward.
Gordon Hayward, yeah. It's not really contributing to the future of this team under LaMelo Ball. I mean, I guess he has another shooter, but
Yeah,
that's not really what Gordon Hayward is particularly known for.
yeah,
So, not fantastic at all. I mean, just kind of puts a damper on a off season. I honestly thought the Melo Ball pick was fantastic. I mean,
yeah, sure.
it's
I didn't
providing a
really see it,
superstar
which is I really
and
did.
a big name, but um, yeah, not great.
Yeah, okay. So my number two team is the Thunder, who it was talked about the Suns, and they
Yo,
immediately traded. Did they trade Kelly Oubre for? I think it was like a pick. Pretty sure it was a pick.
yeah, it was a first in
Yeah,
21. Yeah, it
whatever. Yeah,
was.
that's the problem with the Thunder.
Yeah,
All Steven Adams traded for some. I think a pick. They just a pick.
yeah.
Chris Paul traded for Kelly Oubre, got traded for a pick and a pick. And Ricky Rubio, who I think was traded for a pick. Um, so it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Oh, they got Al Horford.
Yep, yep.
One of
For a
the
pick.
Yeah, for a pick and Danny Green.
Yep.
Yeah, and
It's
they traded Danny Green, but they have like 17 first round picks, which means nothing because Sixers are a good team. The Suns will probably be a good team. The Lakers are obviously a good team. No, the Clippers are obviously a good team.
yep,
So, like, and I guess they still have their own picks, which
yep.
will be valuable because they're going to stink.
Yeah.
Last year, but
Yep,
whatever. They don't have a Chris Paul on their roster. And they traded Dennis Schroeder to the Lakers.
yep.
So it's just a ton of idiotic moves from Sam Presti, to be honest.
Well, I mean, obviously they want to get the picks and rebuild and get the value for these guys as they're getting on those 1 year. That's been the goal of this organization for a while. But I mean, we're talking about guys where, you obviously, I mean, we both feel like they could have got a ton more value for outside of just picks upon picks upon picks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. My number two is going to be the Nuggets. Um, this is kind of a low key one. Not a lot of people are just going to look at this Nuggets roster and straight down the line and see, like they lost Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee. Like, what's the problem? But Jeremy Grant was probably one of the biggest contributors to the Denver Nuggets' success in the postseason. His abilities as a defender, his shooting across the bubble. I think he had like, what was it, like a 34-point game against somebody. Yeah, I mean, just a huge contribution. And I think, honestly, they should be shocked. I mean, they paid him. So a huge loss for them. The Plumlee thing doesn't really hurt them. He was terrible defensively in the playoffs.
Well, decent offensive center.
Yeah. So, I mean, for them to get worse in a year where I think they were bound and are probably still bound to take a huge step forward with the development of Jamal Murray in the bubble and Jokic still being Jokic, it stinks, honestly. And I think they're still a top 4 seed, but it's kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah. So my third team is the Chicago Bulls. If y'all remember, because like our most viewed video, the lottery.
Yep.
I was so hyped. The Bulls got the 4th pick. I thought they could get Denny, they get Halliburton. Maybe there was rumors of a Kongwu, which is weird. And even rumors of their trade up to get Wiseman, which is also weird.
Also weird.
They have Wendell Carter and Larry Market, and like I don't see the point.
Yep.
But they got Patrick Williams, who we'll talk about later, who came off the bench for Florida State. And they made no significant moves in free agency because they're tied to that Otto Porter contract, which is like $20 million a year.
Yep.
And that was it. They did nothing. They fired Jim Boylan, which is W, obviously.
Yeah.
They bring in Carson Ovis, the decent GM so far.
Yeah.
But you hire Billy Donovan, who I thought was a pretty solid coach for OKC, but I think in the playoffs all of his issues started to show, and it's definitely it's not good. Like I wanted him to go to the Sixers, which is wild. But yeah, I can't see this panning out with the Bulls. Even though I like Kobe White, I like Zach LaVine, I like Larry Mark, like I like some of their players, but I mean, the East is open because it generally sucks because the match for the 8th seed every year.
I mean, there's that one spot.
Like, if Kobe White makes a jump, which I hope he does, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's unless they hit on a pick next year, it'll be a long decade for the Bulls. It's gonna be up to 30 years soon since their prime.
96, 98, yeah. It's crazy. All right, so my third team is a division rival. I'm gonna go with the Boston Celtics, and obviously not a huge loss. Was Gordon Hayward for the Celtics team. They obviously played fantastic in the bubble without him. But at the same time, when you look at this rumor in which Danny Ainge was proposed Miles Turner and Doug McDermott, and Hayward wanted to go to Indiana,
take it,
and refused to take it, and instead let Hayward walk.
Yeah, and bring Tristan Thompson in.
Which, I mean, I don't mind Tristan Thompson. He is decent. The definition of a fine big. I think he's more effective at the 4 than the 5. Mm-hmm. I think he got bullied by Embiid and many of the other top centers in the league in their matchups this season, but he's not an elite center. But when you have the chance to get Miles Turner,
I think he's like the perfect Celtic.
Who's exactly that young, sharpshooting big who's also a great defender. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, why Indiana is looking to get rid of him for some reason. I mean, obviously, probably because he doesn't fit with Sabonis. How could you not take that? And
Yeah.
Doug McDermott is solid enough too. He could play minutes off your bench. And so I think Danny Ainge just got too greedy, and it didn't work out. And honestly, I'm perfectly glad it did because I think that Celtics team would honestly be better than Milwaukee if
Yeah.
they had obtained Turner. But still a solid team. Still
Mhm.
going to be top team in the East for sure.
Yep. So we're gonna go into the draft now. We're gonna go Adam Skinner for the first three. I need to talk about Patrick Williams more because
Yep.
of pain. And I'll go through the rest of those, and then and then we'll both talk about a Kongwu, and then I'll go through the rest of the top 10, and then we'll just go into winners and losers like we did here. But instead, it's like steals and reaches. But
Yeah.
Patrick Williams is gonna be on there, so
Exactly.
you can go through the top three.
Okay. So we're gonna start with Anthony Edwards. Um, Anthony Edwards. I'm gonna start by saying this is a guy who I compared to Andrew Wiggins.
Kind
Going
of
into
is
the
January
year draft
2.0.
process,
With
and now that he has become the first overall pick, it kind of fits. Um, Edwards was great when he had the ball in college.
yeah.
Great shot creating guard. A lot of people compared his step back to that of Harden, even for his size. But at the same time, a guy who didn't really have a motor, didn't really seem to be trying defensively at all in college.
Mhm.
Um, and not a great shooter overall when after he had created those shots in college. I mean, I think he shot like 30% from three at Georgia or something ridiculous like that. So for a first overall pick, definitely not fantastic. But overall, when you look at it,
Yeah, as far as fit,
probably the most skilled player on the board. Yeah. So I mean, not a bad pick for the Timberwolves.
yeah.
And then number two, we have James Wiseman. Um, I think just a great fit for the Golden State Warriors.
Perfect.
Just plugged right in with Draymond Green. He has a good shooting stroke. I think there's some work that needs to be done from three, but I mean, obviously, when you're a 7-1 guard who can, I mean, a 7-1 center who can finish the way that he can, uh, definitely a huge contributor, especially with that Golden State team. I mean, he can be basically a better Andrew Bogut. And
Yeah,
that team will
very
still
cheap
be
joke, but yeah.
that team will still be infinitely better. Um, Number three, we got LaMelo Ball, and I have been known on this podcast to be a LaMelo Ball fan. I think that kind of slid down a little bit as I watched more tape and saw that definitely not a fantastic shooter. Definitely like Edwards, does not have that motor, but the playmaking skills are definitely there, and it honestly looks so much similar to Lonzo, a taller version of Lonzo himself in college. That I think it's a solid pick, and it brings, most importantly, it brings a market to Charlotte that has not been there since, I don't want to say, Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah, like not even the Kemba days.
Yeah.
I guess like
I mean, maybe Kemba, yeah. The last year of Kemba.
Davis, like then, like the early two
Yeah.
thousands, like right before they moved to New Orleans. I don't know. It's rough. We gotta reach when we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets.
Hornets, exactly. And if you want more Charlotte Hornets, episode 4 of the Broad Street Benchwarmers
Yeah,
podcast, that's you covered.
like
Yep.
second. Oh yeah, it's like second lowest viewed video, but
Yep.
who
We're gonna
cares?
talk about that. But number four,
Patrick
Patrick
Williams.
Williams. Yeah. You want to start?
I mean, I understand the pick. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
This is a very mediocre draft when you look back at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are a lot of good players like in the lower and like outside of the lottery,
Yeah.
but yeah, not spectacular. I think he does add some shooting and some defense that the Bulls need because Zach LaVine is, for his size, a very below average defender.
Yeah.
But and I mean, I really hope that he's good
Yeah.
because he seems like the Kristaps of this draft, to be honest.
Yo.
Seems
I
to be
mean,
like who is this guy? Like Or okay, this is how it's going to be. It's either going to be the Chris Epps of this draft or the Daniel Jones of this draft. I mean that
Yeah.
completely seriously.
Yeah.
He is a definition of a boomer bust player.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to go off of since he came off the bench for the
Bench.
seventh.
Yeah. I mean,
But
the defense is definitely there. I will say that. The
yeah,
defense, when you watch the tape, is definitely there. And the shot from range, but not a great finisher, especially for a wing, and a little bit undersized
mhm,
for the position of small forward. Um, just not one of the big impact guys in this draft, and especially when you have guys like Okongwu, big names like Okongwu and Denny
Obi,
and Obi Toppin, yeah, on the board, it's a little tough. Even Halliburton. I
yeah,
mean, you know, so definitely an interesting pick.
yeah.
Am I number five or are you number five? I can't
You're
even
number
remember.
five, and we're going to both talk about number six.
Okay.
So Oro,
Isaac Okoro is fine.
he's fine.
That's yeah, that's really. I mean, great great presence at Auburn. Obviously, that team made did they make the Final Four? I'm pretty sure they made the Final Four
Yeah,
years ago. From what I've heard from I know all the ESPN guys, super hard worker. Bruce Pearl has said that he's the best talent he's ever had. But at the same time, that Auburn team was not fantastic in stretches last season. He is a great defender, but again with the finishing ability, not super strong. His mid range isn't fantastic. Another 3-and-D guard that could pan out, could
yeah,
not. Not necessarily the biggest impact player you could have gotten. You already had Kevin Porter Jr.,
yeah.
but still a solid pick.
It looks just not like this. It's not like the 20th guard like Garland and stuff.
Exactly.
But,
But
yeah,
Obi Toppin,
Oro is a weird pick. So
Okongwu,
yeah,
yeah.
why? Why? You could have got Halliburton, which would have been great because that balances out the awful defense of Trey Young.
Well, the thing that really frustrates me is the John Collins thing. I
Yeah,
mean, the way this man is disrespected when could have honestly been an all-star with if he had performed the way he had in the second half in that first half. Just a great defensive player and really spreads out the floor for that Atlanta team.
mhm.
And so, that it sucks for him. I mean,
Him
you're
and Capella, like I guess
yes,
the nice
yeah,
for those.
yeah.
They have Gallinari. Like, how many forwards do you
As
need?
you need. Yeah, this is a Knicks like situation.
Yeah, and then yeah, Halliburton just seems like a perfect pick, and then he
Exactly.
slides to the Kings,
Yep.
and you can just be starting either Cam Reddish or Kevin Herter and DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah.
Like I get that you got him in the top five last year and you want to develop him, but I mean, unless you really think that Clint Capella is expendable, I don't understand it.
No.
I
And
mean,
unless you think Collins is expendable, because from what I've heard, I honestly think they think that Collins should be the one to go
I don't
and
know why he's
see
the
what that
odd man out,
fits.
but
Yeah.
sure, do your thing.
Yep.
Okay. I'll get into the rest of the top 10. Number seven,
7.
Killian Hayes to the Pistons. I think that was actually a really good pick
Yep.
because you got rid of Luke Kennard. Is Derrick Rose a free agent now or is he still on the team? I
No,
know
he's still on the team for another year.
he's still on the team. You can run him
Yeah.
too. Killian Hayes is probably top five favorite players in the draft. Not like a top
Yeah.
five talent for me. I think he went right where he belongs. I don't think he is in the name recognition of the top three.
I think he might be better than LaMelo, but we can.
Maybe down the line.
Yeah.
But I'm probably the opposite of Adam as far as
Yeah.
Mellow opinion goes. But it's been a while since the Pistons have had obviously Derrick Rose is a big name, so like I'll say a big game guard
Yeah.
because I mean when you throw all that money at the forwards, you obviously have some you have an opening for a guard, and
Yep.
Killian Hayes has probably the highest, maybe the highest ceiling out of these guards in the draft.
Yeah.
So I
Honestly.
it could go either way. Like Patrick Williams, he could be another like a Emmanuel Moody or like a Dante Exum.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan of him. Like he could
Yeah.
pan out very well.
Could be D'Angelo Russell,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. And then number 8, no, number 9, right? No, 8,
8. 8.
8. Jesus, sorry. Obi Toppin, to the Knicks. I mean, not even a terrible pick.
Yeah.
Even though their guard situation is very suspect with Frankie Smokes, RJ Barrett, and Austin Rivers coming off the bench now. And I think they're right back up for Peyton. Uh, I mean, Obi Toppin, he's as Stephen A said, he's a box office. He's a highlight player.
Yeah.
You won the Naismith Player of the Year. I'm surprised he slipped this far. To be honest, I thought he could have went to
Me
like
too, honestly. I
Detroit.
thought he could have gone number 5.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess since your forwards aren't all going to be great with like Bobby Portis or like Kevin Knox, like you might as well just try it out because you have
Best available. Yeah.
hope to have a good pairing there. I mean, I'm not totally sold on him, but I would totally be happy for the Knicks if he turns out to be good.
Another great dunker and terrible defensive forward.
Yeah, there you go. But now we have Danny Avdija. Is that right? Whatever.
Is that? I think that's how they said his name draft night. I've been saying Aviha for months,
I think it's
but I think it's Avida.
yeah, it's
Avija.
Avdija.
Yeah. Avdia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, from Israel. He was projected to go to the Bulls like right after the lottery. That's where I thought he was gonna go.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was gonna slip this far, and I think he's actually if I think Okongwu and Tim were the two best fits because Thomas Bryant's fine, he's okay, and Rui, you have a much lower opinion of him than I do.
Yes, I think he is one of the worst defensive players in the league. But that's for another day.
Any who just by proxy, everybody's gonna think, oh, he's the next Luca, he's the next Kristaps, he's the next. Like he's gonna be okay. He could very well be that Luca, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Like Washington is not good at developing their
No.
players.
And I mean, although he is a good fit, I mean, this guy averaged 5 points per game the year before this. So it really was a big breakout in Israel this year. And I know the Euro League is obviously different. RJ, look at what RJ Hampton did. We'll talk about that later and how much he slipped. You're playing with grown men.
Yeah.
But he has been hailed as this generational talent, and I think when you're drafting that late, you are drafting on upside.
Yeah.
That late in the lottery.
Like the Wizards have nothing to lose. So,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You can have Denny.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. And at 10, you have Jalen Smith for the Suns. You have Cam Johnson. You have DeAndre Ayton. You bring back Dario Saric. I would expect they would go to like a small forward, like maybe like
Yeah.
Devin Vassell, something along those lines, or even Halliburton. And move
Still there.
But like I think before the Chris Paul trade, that would have been a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess
Booker the 3.
yeah. I think since they ran him a
Just
point,
have him off the bench.
they had him bring the ball up a lot. I don't think they would do that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very weird pick, Jones Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It's more a fit, I think, more
yeah,
than anything.
just because I guess they want some depth.
Yeah.
I think a backup guard would have worked because I mean, Javon Carter, he's not an elite backup.
No. But I mean, this is still a guy that a lot of people around that Maryland team liked a lot. I mean, he's a great finisher. He's obviously huge. You get rebounds. I've heard him compared to like JaVale McGee
I mean, if he fits that role like on the Lakers or Warriors, he'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, not terrible.
Yeah, and I mean, the Suns. I said they were a winner, but I mean, I think that balances it out
Yeah,
because Jalen Smith, him and I know he hasn't panned out in the NBA yet, but him and Bruno Fernando out of Maryland were a fun team to
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
I had them going far
I
in
agree.
the bracket,
March Madness, exactly.
but yeah,
No,
we're
me
gonna
too.
go into our steals and our reaches. I kept
Yeah.
talking about Halliburton for like all these teams. I think the Hawks and Wizards, maybe,
Yo.
and then Phoenix. So Tyrese Halliburton, probably the as far. It's not like Maxi, who is another one of my steals. Spoiler. But, Tyrese Halliburton, I think he kind of is like maybe like one of my three favorite players in the draft, just because I really like two-way players.
Mm,
Because I think
no,
that
great
defense
versatility.
he could have brought to Atlanta would have made him so much better than starting Cam Reddish or Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
And he's still a very solid offensive player. He he could have the ceiling to be like a better Josh Richardson, I guess, or like a Shea.
Mm,
A lot, yeah,
honestly.
I feel like a good comparison to Shea, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very weird situation in Sacramento. I guess Julius Bogdan, you're gonna move Buddy to the three, even though you was no part of
They'll
that.
probably just bring off the bench. I mean, Buddy, with getting rid of Bogdan, I think they're going to want to give Buddy those minutes. I think that's them committing to him.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
we'll
guess
see.
run Buddy at the three and run Halliburton into two.
Yeah, that could
And then
work.
Barnes at the four, Bagley at the five, or Bagley at the four, and Whiteside at the five is against a weird team.
Yeah, probably Bagley at the four, Whiteside at five.
Yeah,
I like Whiteside. But my first one is Tyrell Terry.
yeah,
Uh, first pick of the second round. We talked about this earlier. Just a guy, while I mean, maybe not the incredible shooting touch, um, still pretty great at Stanford. Um, a little undersized, but also a great scrappy defender, and a guy we really wanted for the Sixers to provide that ball handling and shooting presence. So I mean, um, definitely a steal for the Dallas Mavericks, and this is a guy who could definitely and probably will get major minutes in the rotation
mhm.
from day one. So to get that with the first pick of the second round is definitely huge.
Yep. Can steal. I already talked about him, like by name, but Tyrese Maxey to the Sixers. Thought he would go like early. No, not early, just like late lottery
Yeah,
around like 12, like 14. We got him at 21. Was it 21? Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yep,
Backup guards is what we needed. Talked about that. He's not an incredible shooter, but we got shooters. That's literally what we did with Danny Green and Seth Curry. So we're set.
yeah.
Yeah,
My second steal is RJ Hampton.
yeah,
This was probably the, I mean, most feel bad draft moment of the night. You see him crying as he slips down the boards. A guy who I thought was overrated coming into the draft and then suddenly underrated. It seems like NBA teams kind of agreed with me. Not great in New Zealand, but one of the best players coming out of high school for sure. Great two-way guard there. Great shooter. And so I think for a team like Denver to add another young piece like they did earlier years ago with Michael Porter Jr., just compiling assets like they did with Bull, and just getting these guys who the NBA scouts may not love, but have the talent and the potential in high school and college and the production. Definitely huge for them.
yep. Okay, so my third steal is a Desmond Bain to the Grizzlies. He was a late first round talent for me. I think he went like mid second round, which is crazy. Probably one of the best shooters in the draft. Just pure shooter. I mean, kind of one dimensional player, but for that value, I think he would have definitely helped on a team like Memphis, who has consistent shooters. Like, I mean, Ja was on and off. Same with Dylan Brooks. So yeah, I think he would be a solid backup for the Memphis Grizzlies going forward, and hopefully they make the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I mean, so close. My number three steal, I can't speak, is Sadiq Bey, and obviously repping Nova Nation. You know, this is this could be kind of a homer pick right here, but Sadiq Bey is a guy as a 3-and-D wing who had incredible production at Villanova, averaging about 14 points per game, just providing a consistent presence throughout a veteran deprived team that was last year's Villanova team, and one of the star players on that team. And so I think for them to get him at 19, he was projected. I mean, he was projected in the 10 to 15 range going into the draft. Fantastic. So I think definitely looking forward to watching this guy play. I loved watching him play in college.
Yep. So we're kind of going off the board for these two last picks. So they're a late second round. This guy's
Yeah.
undrafted. So number 4 is Miles Powell from the Seton Hall Pirates, right?
Yep.
To the New York Knicks, which is kind of a steal.
Yeah.
Actually, probably one of the biggest steals.
Yeah.
He lit up the Big East. I mean, you would know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I
Just
would know. Beat
he
me
has
multiple times.
Seton Hall,
Yep.
and I think that is something the Knicks need as a backup wing. I think he'll start out in Rochester, which I think is where their G League team is. He'll work his way up, but I think he has definitely a lot of potential to be a solid, just pure scorer for the New York Knicks.
Yeah. My number four is Theo Maledon. Um, OKC, a guy who we could have had if not for the Al Horford trade, but I still think
No,
it's worth it. Yeah,
we got that contract off the books.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's totally worth it. But Maledon, um, a great international player, great passer, great playmaker, and a guy who was being projected to the Sixers a lot, like Tyrell Terry, going into this draft, mostly earlier in April, May. Um, but yeah, for I think it was Dallas. No, it was OKC. It was OKC who got him. What am I thinking? Because it was the Al Horford trade for OKC to get him in the second round at 34 is fantastic. And again, another guy who, I mean, with the way OKC has depleted his roster right now, could definitely play major minutes off the bench for sure.
okay, so my fifth. This is kind of silly, but
Yeah.
Isaiah Joe to the Sixers. He's gonna be on the
Yeah,
blue coats probably for a while. I don't think
probably.
he's only gonna be on the team if someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
But similar to Desmond Bain, he is a pure shooter.
Yep.
For some reason, it's so weird. Like when he was rumored to the Sixers, he's been linked to the Sixers for a while.
Wow.
I thought
Yeah.
he would go in the first round or maybe a 34, and he
Yep.
traded OKC. I think
Yep.
of that or Horford thing.
Yep.
But I think that value, him and Paul Reed were actually two very good value picks because Paul Reed is a good backup shot blocking forward like Norvell Powell. um, I think that adds some nice youth to develop in the G League. Like in the event that God forbid nothing happens to any of our guys,
Yep.
I think Isaiah Joe could be he's very one dimensional like Desmond
Yeah.
Bain, but he is one of the best shooters I've seen on tape so far. Just like there's not much else to his game, but he He is
still there.
ridiculous.
Yeah. My number 5 is Cassius Winston. And you know, obviously there's been a lot of talk after the draft, how did this guy slip? How did this guy slip? Um Winston was obviously a highly productive guard in college. I think did he average 24? I'm pretty sure he averaged 24 at Michigan State. And just great overall. I mean, this is a guy who was a great locker room guy, stayed all 4 years. I think that definitely could have hurt him. But a huge deal late for the Lakers. Wasn't it the Lakers?
I thought it was OKC, but I'm
We're
not sure.
so late in this draft.
Not the Wizards, Jesus.
It was the Wizards. Oh, yeah. Not a great fit, but a huge
Whatever.
steal late.
Yeah.
Whatever. He was really fun to watch in college, and I picked that Michigan State team in March Madness a lot. So yeah.
So we're going to the reaches.
Yeah.
I think when we were doing this before, I think you took Patrick Williams from me.
I did take Patrick Williams from you.
Because there aren't a lot of reaches to talk about.
Yep.
Because this is generally like a very, I don't know. It wasn't a hugely egregious draft.
Yeah.
One, I don't think I talk about this often, but I'm a UNC fan. Cole Anthony went 15th to the Magic. It's weird. I really hope he does
My favorite
well.
picks. That's the crazy part.
He lost TJ Augustine, so I guess there's an opening for and Markel Fultz to be the backcourt, which honestly is it's really strange.
Yeah.
But it hurts me to say because he has potential to be a good player. Obviously, coming out of high school, he's a very touted recruit, and but that means he got so much volume, like so many shots at UNC that it looks like he was great. Like 16 points per game, like 5 assists.
Yeah.
But UNC sucked. They were terrible. Not to, I don't want to say not to the extent of Penn State football, but we're not going to get into
Come on now. That's a little low.
Yeah. I'm just trying to cope with the UNC basketball program taking a complete nosedive. But yeah, he's like a low mid to low 30s as far as 3-point percentage goes.
Yeah.
That's not what you want out of your starting point guard. Right outside of the lottery.
You know who's shooting better than that?
Like Zaire.
Markel Fultz.
I mean, yeah, gotten a shot together from the double clutch free throw.
Yep. My first deal is Patrick Williams. We already went at length into this, but just to beat the dead horse. Big upside pick, great quote unquote fit for Chicago, but could have got him much later. Number 4 with guys like Okongwu and Denny and Obi Toppin on the board. Definitely not a great pick. Yeah.
On my second, where do you even go? Because Isaiah Stewart,
Washington.
No, I know where he went to college, but he went to the Pistons.
Okay.
So for Pistons, they saw Blake Griffin, they brought in Jeremy Grant, they have Mason Plumlee, now they have Isaiah Stewart. I don't see why. Could have used a wing. But I'm not gonna judge. It's the Pistons. They're gonna suck either way.
Yeah.
It's just not doesn't make sense. He was highly touted out of high school like Cole Anthony and didn't really pan out, but he'll be like a young Rashawn Holmes. So for the Sixers, he'll average like 5 to 7 points and it'll be okay.
And that was on a process team. Yeah. My second one is another guy we have already previously talked about. I did not do very good drafting these. But Jalen Smith. And, this is a guy who I had projected 20 to 30 range. Um, you know, athletic big, but still very raw. And, the potential's there, but a lot of higher floor guys in this draft. And Phoenix goes and takes them at 10, which really shocked me. I think, I thought they liked Cam Johnson a lot. I guess getting rid of Oubre, maybe you can move Johnson to the 3. I don't really know, to put the logic behind it. But, an interesting pick for sure. And I can definitely see it panning out. But, in the top 10, I could definitely see it being moved at later as a questionable one.
Yeah, so kind of changing my mind on this one just to make you feel a little less bad.
Okay.
About the, I think it was Sadiq Bey.
It was Sadiq Bey?
Sadiq Bey originally.
Sheesh.
I'll go with Pokuševski just because he's such a project. I don't think and if anybody knows, he's Alexei Pokuševski, 7 feet tall. He's built like, what's his name?
Dragon Bender.
Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
He doesn't bring a lot. A lot of people are comparing him to like. I saw a video when I was doing my draft studying on YouTube.
Yeah.
Alexei Pokuševski, the next Greek freak. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, I know he played for Olympiacos in Greece. I guess that's why, because he's Serbian. I guess that makes him a Greek freak because he played for a Greek team. But he just, he has a lot more Dragon Bender than a Kristaps to me, to be honest. But that's it. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, a lot.
Finally, a good team.
I mean, we're gonna have a very fun NBA season.
Yeah.
I will just say that. I mean, just think we got an hour out of talking about the draft and the off season.
Yeah.
Like, we're ready for this to go. So December, what's it? It's December 22nd. December 22nd, we'll be ready. Until then, we're gonna continue talking about football as well. There should be some Eagles stuff up soon enough, and we're gonna talk Seahawks. Our boy Nico's coming on. So thank you guys so much. If you've made it this far, I doubt you have, but
highly doubt it.
Yep. 2-minute runtime, but average watch time. It's okay. We'll see you guys soon. Yeah.